Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is bandit signs. Bandit signs are one of the cheapest ways to advertise your business. They're typically 12 by 18 or 18 by 24 and made of that corrugated plastic with a simple message that can be read quickly. You must familiarize yourself with the local laws when posting bandit signs. In most cities, it's against the law to post them on light posts or any other city-owned property. And if you ever get a notice to remove them, you could receive a fine for each day you leave them up. But once you have familiarized yourself with the local laws, when placed in the right locations, bandit signs can generate some great leads. Intersections are a perfect place to post them because cars are stopped for a short period of time, but another place is in the parking lot at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. A friend of mine got an awesome deal from a bandit sign at a Home Depot because a tired landlord had just left a recently vacated rental, which was trashed. They were so frustrated they had to patch holes in the walls and replace a cracked toilet. So instead, they saw her sign and decided right then and there to get rid of the place for cheap. My last little nugget on bandit signs is that as an investor, you should call the number posted and let them know that you too buy houses. Maybe they're a wholesaler, so ask to get on their buyer's list, or just let them know that if they ever get too many properties on their plate, you are happy to be a backup buyer. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us someone I recently met at a mastermind in the Dominican Republic. He's new to the industry, but also becoming a total rock star realtor serving the Columbus, Ohio market. So welcome to the show, Don Schettler.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yay! I remember sitting on a boat with you, and I was just so impressed because you have been in this industry for just over a year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
And you're totally kicking ass. You are doing all the right things. So I was like, get on the show. Let's go through it. There's so many people out there that want to get into real estate investing and they just don't know how to start. And I just feel like you have done all the right things. So give us a quick background on you. Where did you grow up? Where are you from? Tell us all the good stuff.
Yeah. So I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. Both my parents were born and raised here their whole lives. Went to a high school called Poland. It's about 5-6 miles southeast of Youngstown. Pretty blue collar place. You know, you got both sides of it. I went to high school and then went to Kent State University for aviation. Just kind of wanted to go to school for something that, you know, I didn't want to go to school for just to go to school pretty much. So it sounded cool. Kind of fell in the aviation world and kind of fell in love with it. Worked at the airport out there all 4 years that I was in college. Well, I got my degree, and I graduated Kent State University with a bachelor's in aeronautics and a minor in aircraft dispatch. Got out of that, started applying for some jobs, and found a company called NetJets about 2 months after I graduated. Moved down to Columbus from Youngstown, Ohio, or from Kent, Ohio, I should say, which is only about an hour north of Youngstown. And I started working just my job down there. So that's kind of how I had no real estate experience before that. Started working the 9-to-5 gig with NetJets and getting more invested with the real estate on my days off, and just kind of fell in love with it.
Let's stop real quick. Tell me about aviation. Like, what do you do exactly for them?
So what I do right now, I'm a flight schedule planner. So essentially, like, we are a pretty on-demand company. So we have very short response times for the people who fly with us. So normally 8 hours. So when we get a new booking, we essentially owe these clients of ours a plane with a crew with good crew members and ready to go where they need to go at the airport they want to leave from in 8 hours. So what I do is I pretty much plan that out. I make sure that we get a plane dispatched to the right airport. They got everything they need. We got 2 good pilots ready to go, and everything just kind of goes smooth. Just kind of solve problems as we go. So that's kind of what I do on the day job right now.
And those are private planes?
Private planes, yep. It's fractional ownership. So you kind of like own like a fraction of the jet, and we like do pretty much everything behind it.
Gotcha. And did it slow down at all with the coronavirus?
Yes and no. At first, it kind of came to a pretty flat line, like just with a lot of industries, like right when it first happened. But after the first few months, we actually were extremely busy. I think a lot of the people that were kind of on the edge of like wanting to go private and commercial kind of gave them a reason to, take that leap over to private. So we got a lot of those new contracts. But right now we're doing great as a company. We're still working remote from home. So, there's been a lot of changes and adapting, but, it keeps us interested in, it's always changing. So.
And you work there, like it's a 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, kind of. I just say that, but it's super weird hours sometimes. So we do 2 shifts in my department. So the first shift is 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then the second shift is 3:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m.
Oh,
so
nice.
I do both of those. This month I'm on the morning, so that just changed. We do 4:10s. So right now I'm doing Friday to Monday morning. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday I work 6:30 to 4:30, but it's from home. So that's kind of the schedule I'm working with right now. But it's cool.
So I bet that actually works pretty well with, starting a side hustle. And I know you had mentioned before that when we were speaking in Dominican Republic that you had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that was the one thing that kind of pushed you more into wanting to get into the real estate business. So having a job like that with these odd hours, I bet it kind of frees up time for you to use towards your real estate. So what was the jump? Because again, listeners are out there saying, I'd love to get into real estate. I hate who I work for. Hate the corporate America gig. How do I get this started? So what I was impressed with you is that you are still working this 9 to 5 and yet starting your real estate. And how did you start it?
Man, I mean, it was a process. Like, it wasn't just like one direct thing. Like, there's just a lot of analysis paralysis at the beginning. I mean, I worked at NetJet. I've been there for 3 years in March. So it wasn't like immediate. It started with just listening to like podcast audiobooks because I'd be at work and we'd be allowed to have a headphone in. So I would just be doing my thing at work all day and I would always just have something in my ear, just it could be a podcast, an audiobook, an interview, not all the time, but I try to keep it focused on that.
And besides the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast, what are some of your favorite podcasts?
Bigger Pockets. I've listened to a lot of those. Real Estate Disruptors is a big one. Wholesale and Inc. Max Maxwell. Ty the Flip Man down in Alabama was one of the first ones I found with his like 1-page contract. So it kind of got me into it. But pretty much everything as far as like the first step was just education. It wasn't really organized either. It was just kind of keeping myself in that world, like just like, hey, like instead of listening to music for an hour, like let me throw on a podcast or something like that.
Love it.
So just seeing what other people were doing, because I knew that real estate had 1,000 different directions to go. It wasn't just like I'm going to go into real estate and then there's a bunch of ways to go. So just kind of educating myself on the different options I had definitely was the first step.
And you said something that a lot of people suffer from, which is analysis paralysis. So what was stopping you? What is it that you felt like you had to get in your brain and keep analyzing before you moved forward?
Yeah, I think it was honestly just like a subconscious fear of making a rookie mistake. And then just kind of having to find like, like being able to make a move, I would have had to pretty much had something just handed to me that was like a perfect situation. And then I think just kind of getting over that you just got to realize that, you're going to figure it out as you go. And I think you just got to kind of accept that and just make the move and just get on the phone, get out there, start making offers, start making calls, stuff like that. And I think I just kept thinking that I had to be perfect and educated at everything, so I didn't look dumb when I tried to go do it. So I'm starting to learn now that it's a lot easier just to kind of, just do something. You got to do action. So I definitely just, for months on months end, I wasn't really doing anything at all. Just listening to stuff and educating myself, stuff like that. But
and
definitely
sorry, cut you off. Another smart thing you did was you found people in your area that are totally kicking ass in the real estate investment world. So how did you end up connecting with them?
I'm not even joking. Like, I would go on Facebook and just type in like real estate group in Columbus. And that's how I found this one group. It's called The Cream on Facebook. So that's kind of how I met up with a lot of the people that we were just on this mastermind with. So I just started joining Facebook groups, just kind of just like as a fly on the wall type of thing. I wasn't really interacting a lot, but just kind of seeing how, people did their day-to-day stuff, and just kind of got used to the lingo and, what people were looking for and what people were struggling with, stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend to any beginner, just, join your local Facebook groups, look at meetups. Just pretty much any major city is going to have like a monthly type of meetup. I know it's different now because of the coronavirus, but just, getting active as far as your social circles in your immediate area. So that's kind of what I did to, just joining those local Facebook groups and just, reaching out to people here and there, just depending on certain posts or like asking certain questions, or, they'd be putting like free webinars up and stuff like that. And I would just, just kind of keep my face out there, and I didn't want to overdo it, but I definitely just kind of wanted to start to, get my face in the name of or get my face like in the real estate world.
So smart. And I think that's definitely what impressed me about you. Did you meet any of them in person, like prior to this trip?
I think in person I've met one out of like the 50 there, and it was like a very brief conversation at a meetup at a bar. So no, not really.
Okay. And
yeah.
And that's funny to me because, it seemed like you just fit right in with them. It was, in fact, there was one night which we had in Dominican Republic, there were swim up suites. And so you could swim up to the back door of your suite. And that's how I had an interaction with Don in the middle of the night, where you were with a friend of ours, Terry, who he broke into our suite. He broke into our suite thinking it was his suite. And I'm like, he gets in there and I'm like, Terry, what are you doing? And he's like, oh my God. I think I just scared him even more, but he was just confused. But then next, falling right behind him was you saying, are you sure this is your room?
Yeah, I was all sorts confused. So we were 50-51 room number. You guys were 30-51 in the next one or whatever. So it was like the buildings look exactly the same setup and everything. And we were one too far to the right. So I didn't have my card on me all night, and my plan the whole night, and so was his, was to just walk in the back door because we didn't have our cards on us. So we tried to do that plan and realized that it wasn't our rooms. But
I'm like, yeah, I'm just squatting in your room here,
I didn't know what was going on, but yeah, that was a mistake.
That was hilarious. But anyway, that was the impression. What's that?
I said, yeah, we were definitely comfortable with each other.
Yes. Which is what made me think that you guys had known each other prior. So that was hilarious. All right. So you are following these people. You are doing all the right thing by being visual and being there, and then kind of sneaking your way in, which I love. Super smart. And anyone listening to this right now can do the same thing. This is such great advice. But you said, I need to be legit. So you went and got your real estate license. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like I just noticed, like before I got my real estate license and I was starting to get into real estate, I started marketing kind of myself as far as wholesaling. Like I just wanted to be like a full-time wholesaler. That was kind of the route I was going to go. Like I didn't want anything to do with becoming an agent or anything. And I just realized, like, one, I just had no kind of educational background as far as just legalities, just kind of the market, just it's really good to get yourself in front of people that are, as far as doing the on-market stuff too, and building those relationships. So and I also didn't have any credibility. So like I would start talking to people on the phone and they just be like, well, who are you with? And what are you doing? So like just being able to say like, yeah, I'm a realtor with Keller Williams. Like, I went to school, I got my license. It just kind of gives you that more authentic feel, like when you're talking to sellers, and kind of gives them more peace of mind. But at the same time, it's real too, because, I learned a lot going through school and building those relationships with my broker and going to all the training courses. And like when I first entered the brokerage, like they have really good training. That's the reason I chose Keller Williams, because they had one of the best like new agent systems. So after I got my license and went through some of those trainings, I just, I realized I was just a lot more in tune with the market and just how to talk to people about real estate. And I just kind of felt less like, I don't know what the right word is, like just kind of scammy to people. Just because
it's the imposter syndrome.
Yes. So I didn't want that. I wanted to, like you said, just kind of ease my way in and truly do it the right way. So I went into school, got my license, and that's kind of what my game plan was, is to just kind of slowly come in like that and build my network.
And not many people do that. They jump in and, like you said, they go straight to wholesaling and think that's how they're going to get in and make some quick cash. And you are building that credibility by establishing yourself in the community, that you know what to do. It's going to help you decide how to price properties and use comps, and it's just going to make you a better investor by having your real estate license. So I think that's fantastic. And since you went to the Dominican and went to this mastermind, which is immersing yourself with other real estate investors, which is, again, so smart, you have got your first property that you're turning into a rental, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. And you're using what's called the BRRRR strategy. So we want to hear all about that.
Perfect. So I actually found this one before I went to the DR, but we're like still in the middle of the construction. So we bought, I have two partners on it, two of my best friends from high school. So we're splitting everything three ways and just kind of doing most of the stuff on ourselves, like contractor wise. They're more hands-on with stuff. So we got the deal. It's actually up in Youngstown, Ohio, this rental. And it was a guy that basically he lived by himself, couldn't keep up the place, and he wanted to move to a condo closer to his kids. So I negotiated a deal with him, I didn't take like realtor commission, so I was able to like use that to get the price lower. We closed on that, and we're basically remodeling the whole house right now. We're hoping to get it rented in April. We're redoing the kitchen. We added a third bedroom to it. My dad helped us build a wall to close off like where the old like dining room was. We're making it into a bedroom.
Nice.
And yeah, so it's just kind of, this is like, we've done everything wrong so far, but we're trying. We have no systems in place. Going to the DR made me realize that I really got to start treating it more like a business and implementing systems and processes and stop just winging it off the top of my head. So that's definitely helped me, like, since I've got back with it, though.
So what's the BRRRR strategy?
Oh, the BRRRR strategy, the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
Very
so,
good.
Yes, that's one of the best things I've learned off Bigger Pockets. And it's just like a mindset shift that you're able to do that. And if you do it successfully, you can get a cash flowing rental property for free, essentially. Like you're pulling all your money out after you refinance it, and you're taking out a loan at 80% of the ARV. And yeah, I think that's the name of the game. It's just getting a bunch of those cash flowing properties and keep reusing your capital. So you want me to go more into it?
Yeah. Tell the listeners how you can possibly get it for free. Like, how does that work? Give me examples of numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So, say you go direct to a seller and they have a single family house that is worth $100,000 completely fixed up. But it needs $50,000 worth of remodeling. Or we'll say $20,000 worth of remodeling. And you go up to the seller and you give him a cash offer of $30,000, or we'll say $20,000 that's in bad shape. So use private money. You go to a hard money lender or a private money lender, and you can get these off like a Facebook group or pretty much if you find a deal that these numbers make sense, there's going to be someone willing to give you money.
And let's stop there for a second, because that is a holdup for so many people. And
Mhm.
and I bet other people told you the money will come, but you're like, but it came. So tell people about that, how easy it is to find private money.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that people waste a lot of time on at the beginning is just trying to like get buyers list of like 200 people and 300 people and like just having a buyer instead and funding private money. But like the way I kind of look at it is if you have a deal in place where the numbers make sense, it's a lot easier to start conversations with these guys and show them if you give it to them in an organized way and you could prove the ARV. You essentially want to be at 70% of the ARV after your repairs. And if you could bring a person a deal with those numbers, you're not going to have trouble finding money.
That's right. So if the deal makes sense, you will find people who will fund it in a heartbeat. So go back. So you're buying it for, you said 20,000. You got to put another 20,000 into it.
Yeah, buy it for 20,000, and then you need 20,000 more into it, and then you're going to want a little bit of a buffer. So you want to bring these numbers to a money lender. And basically, you're going to be asking for $50,000 of private money. So you got your 20 purchase price, your 20 rehab, and maybe $10,000 to just like slip up money in case like there's a contractor issue or there's something that you don't realize. So right now you have a loan with a private money lender at $50,000, and you're going to be paying a high interest rate of probably 12% interest every month until you pay them back. And then typically 1 to 2 points of the purchase price of the loan price. So you rehab it for 3 months and you're paying 3 months of 12% interest. And then you get renters in there after the rehab is. And then after the rehab's done. And then after you get those renters in there, that's your third R of the BRRRR. You take it to a more conventional bank. You can go to like a local credit union. You can go to a more national bank. Pretty much anywhere if you show them cash flow and the ARV. So you take that newly remodeled house that now has that ARV that appraises at $100,000, and then a bank will typically loan you 75 to 80% of that ARV. So let's just say you're newer and they're a little more conservative and they only give you 75%. So you'll get a loan from that national bank of $75,000. You'll pay back that private money lender their $50,000. And then you essentially can pull out that remaining difference of whatever it is, $20,000, and then your only payment for the monthly, like you're paying your new mortgage with the conventional, but like you don't have any more money in that deal other than the mortgage payment. So all your down payments pulled out, and you're just cash flowing at that point with those renters. So. And then you can use that $20,000 to do the same thing on the next house. So I know that was super confusing, but
it wasn't confusing. You explained that so well. And again, this is why I was so impressed with you as someone who's only been in this industry just over a year. You really got your shit together and you explained that perfectly. The only thing you left out was the interest payment. So you pay them back the $50,000 and then plus the interest. And then and you also have rents coming in. So these people are renting a $100,000 property. And so what would a rent be like?
Yeah. I mean, you want like the 1% rule. I mean, but it depends on the market, I guess. So, I mean, you might be, it just kind of depends where it's at, but that was just kind of a general example. But yeah, I mean, I think the more of the story is it's just all about finding those off-market deals direct to seller, because if you can find a deal where the numbers make sense and you could help them out, I mean, it's just a matter of implementing the systems after that. So that's kind of been my biggest thing. It's just like focus on finding the deal and learning how to comp properties accurately, because if you can show these lenders and you can show these banks that you know what you're doing and that you've done the research to back up what you're trying to do, it goes a long way. And, just learning how to comp properties, like from my realtor side, it's helped me a lot with knowing like where I have to be at with stuff like that. So yeah, the BRRRR method is an amazing method for someone who's just starting out, because you really can grow and I'm talking like I have a huge portfolio of these, like I'm on my first one, but I just kind of see like this is like kind of what I want to do because it's a way to get into a rental portfolio with legitimately no money out of pocket. You're just doing a lot of the mind and legwork to find the deal and then kind of nurture it until you can bring it to that big bank and refinance it after it's rehabbed and rented. And then you'll be able to pull money out and then just keep repeating it. So I think it's a fantastic strategy for someone to with just no money to like just start marketing for deals. I mean, that's the name of the game.
So I'm sure there are some listeners out there going, really, $100,000 house and you're getting it for 20K, but
Yeah.
there are deals like that out there. There are people who, and just for example, in my badassery bestowment where I was talking about my friend who had her bandit sign in the parking lot, and that guy, it was a house that was completely paid off. He lived out of state, so he was back visiting, and they had holes in the walls, cracked toilet, and he's like, I'm just so over this. And so he sold it for cheap. Those are ways of how you can find those houses, well below market value, because you are able to get the contractors in there for a lower price because you work with them more often. And, you have a network of people who share their contractors who don't charge the retail prices. So you can get things done much cheaper than, say, the guy going to Home Depot to fix the cracked toilet and the holes in the walls, etc. So, definitely there are deals out there. It's hard work to find them. And working with wholesalers is great because they're out there. They got their, they're on the pulse in the market and they know when they're coming through. So how hard was it to find this property in Youngstown?
This was actually off the MLS, so we were just able to talk them down. So yeah, this is an MLS property. The contractors was a good point though. I mean, we're pretty much doing everything ourselves, and we're saving a lot of budget that way. So we were able to. We knew that we were going to be doing most of this work ourselves and not hiring it out. So we were able to incorporate that into our budget and not get it down as much as people, like a lot of people would have to, like when they're paying full price for contractors. So I think having a gauge on like a plan on like, hey, like who do I know that's going to be able to do this, or am I going to have to pay like full retail price for a contractor is also important. So it definitely can make a big difference.
Do you want to share the numbers for this property in Youngstown, what you're working on?
Yeah. So we think we bought it for $90,000 and the ARV is going to be $150.
Okay.
We're anticipating $25,000 worth of repair.
What repairs do you have to do to it?
So we added the third bedroom. So that gave us some more ARV because now there's 3 houses on the same street that are three bedrooms, 2 baths. So this is going to bring it up to that. We're redoing the kitchen. We're getting new appliances in the kitchen and painting the cabinets. And then we're putting new laminate floors in the kitchen. And then bottom bathroom we're redoing. And
what do you think you can rent it for?
It's going to probably be between $1,100 and $1,300. It's in a really good school district too, and not a lot of rentals there, so we got that going for us too.
That's super important. And what do you think the mortgage payment is going to be on it?
Probably going to be, I'd probably say like $800.
Okay, so you'll be cash flowing about $300 a month.
Yeah, that's what we're expecting, and then that's the beautiful thing about the BRRRR is like you're cash flowing that $300, and then every single month they're paying down your mortgage, and you're using their rent to pay the mortgage. So you're just getting the difference. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's going to add up and the equity will add up. So
absolutely. And that just compounds year after year after year. And then you also have that asset to, if you need to sell it at some point and get some quick cash for it. So I think it's fantastic. Don, I'm so very impressed with you. And I thank you for coming on the show and telling my listeners that, because there's so many people driving in their car right now thinking, I hate going to work and I hate my boss. How do I get out of this? And you are the perfect example. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, excellent. So the second part of all my podcasts is I like to find out what makes you a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS. So tell me a book that has made a huge difference in your life.
It's got to be Think and Grow Rich. I mean, that one was just a mindset by Napoleon Hill. Like, that was one of the first books I ever read. That one will just change your world. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just truly just showing that thoughts are things, and just being able to like change your mindset on focusing on what you need to focus on. And yeah, that one's definitely one of my favorite books. Other than Think and Grow, or other than Rich Dad Poor Dad. Think about it.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know what's funny about Think and Grow Rich is Napoleon Hill is the one who coined the term mastermind, and then that's where I originally met you, is at a mastermind, which is, you know.
Yeah, we read that chapter on my way down there, actually.
Yep, so important, and good for you for being a part of that. The first A in badass is advice. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Well, I guess we'll keep it more real estate centric. But it's just like approaching, like when you're approaching these buyers, I think this is super crucial for new people coming into this industry. Is just truly be a problem solver and come in with the attitude of helping the situation, and not like you were just saying, like a lot of people think that getting a house for $20,000 is almost like ripping someone off. But a lot of these people, like, you can get them out of a bad situation and truly give them a win-win. Like, say they're, behind $15,000 on taxes, and they're going to get foreclosed on, their credit's going to get ruined, and they're going to be homeless. If you find them in a bad situation, you can truly help them get on their feet, give them a clean slate, put a little bit of money in their pocket, and then it's a win-win. So it's truly just having the mindset of like, I'm going to help people get rid of, or I'm going to help people solve their problems, and just kind of approaching every conversation and every interaction you have with just kind of a mindset to help, and not what's in it for me. I think that just kind of was one of the best advices I've got recently. So
I think that's awesome. And I will back that up, because we had a gentleman who called us desperately, needing to get out of his mortgage because he needed to move to Texas immediately. And the property was valued at about $90,000. It needed some work, and his mortgage was only about $54,000, but he had things that he had to repair. And so all he wanted was for us to pay off his mortgage. And so we did that. We gave him a little bit of moving money, and then he was able to leave within 2 weeks. He was so grateful to us, because exactly what you said, we were a problem solver. Now, that property, we cleaned it up. We didn't do too much to it because we kept it low just because of the area where it was. We wanted to keep it affordable for the neighborhood. So it was a win-win all around. And you, in this industry, you have to put that thinking hat on of how can I help them with this issue? Because, home ownership is so expensive, and it's sometimes the most expensive thing, and it's very emotional for people. So being a problem solver is so very important. So I'm so impressed that you even went there. See, newbie, you rock. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
I got a lot. I mean, it just got to come down to just my family and the people I love. Like, I truly just like want to be able to provide like just a comfortable, just being able to do what I want to do with my family when we want to do it, essentially. So, I grew up, like, my parents both to this day, they still work full time. They live paycheck to paycheck. So it's just, I've seen, just like the opportunities that other people have had that, don't rely on like haven't grew up like that. So I just want to be able to provide like my future family just, kind of a peace of mind, not have them concerned about anything financially. So I think, and just being able to retire my parents comfortably, and not having them ever have to worry about like their retirement funds running out or anything like that. So that's what truly drives me.
I love it. You're so good. You are. The second A in aspiration, by the way, we won't tell your parents how you broke into my room. But the second A, aspiration, I'm a big goal setter. So what's a goal that you are currently working on?
A goal that I'm currently working on. Well, I want to have 100 doors by the time I'm 30.
Nice. And how old are you?
25. I'm going to be 26 in April.
Nice.
So that's a little long term, I guess. I I guess more of a short-term goal is, so since we got back from the DR, last Thursday we had a meetup with, it was me and 4 other the people that were there, just kind of like seeing what we were doing. And we're going to start making weekly goals. So my weekly goal for this week was to make 10 offers and then set up my VA and get them trained up. So that's like my weekly goal as of right now, is to just stay on the phones, get my systems and Mojo set up with the VA I just hired, and kind of follow up with those leads. So that's the goal I'm working on right now. But I guess more of a midterm goal between those two is just to continue building up a portfolio of those BRRRR properties we were talking about earlier, and just keep on rocking with that.
And for you to have a goal of doing 100 doors by the time you're 30 is totally attainable. And by seeing that in the future, I like that you are now saying, I'm going to do 10 offers a week. I'm going to just keep cranking them out, and that's going to help you get to that goal. So go back to the fact that you met up with 4 people. Would you call this an accountability group?
Yeah, they actually did use that word, an accountability meeting. So yeah, it originally just started, we were kind of mostly in the same place starting out, with the exception of Solomon. He's been in the business a little bit longer, so he's kind of mentoring us a little bit with the questions we have. So we met up in Austin Rutherford's office. He said it was fine for us to use it, which is amazing. We met up there at 8:30 last Thursday, and just kind of went over, be like, hey, like, we all just got back Monday. What are you guys doing? What are your guys' plans? What are your short-term goals? And we just kind of sat around a table for about an hour and a half and just kind of talked about what we got out of the DR mastermind and what we plan to do moving forward. So I think that's also important, is to just kind of get around a network of like-minded individuals who are kind of working at the same thing, and it gives you a chance to say what you're doing, and then it subconsciously makes you do it, because you don't want to go back Thursday and be like, I didn't do anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So I'm hoping that keeps going. Real cool guys, and we had some really good conversations, and everyone's just super, super willing to help, and just pure intentions, and it's just really good energy for sure.
And again, another great nugget for the listeners is find an accountability partner, because you're right. It will force you. You don't want to go back and be like, I totally sucked this week and didn't do what I said. It's not like you're going to get kicked out or whatever, but it puts that added pressure. And when you announce your goals, you are 42% more likely to achieve those goals, which is great. So I think that's awesome. Great advice for people. The first S in badass is systems. And you've talked a little bit about your systems, but holding down a 9-to-5 job and then also doing a side hustle of real estate, which is a huge side hustle. What are some systems you have in place that help you achieve success?
Yeah, so this is something I'm definitely working on, that I realized after I went to the mastermind, like, I really need to start treating this like a business more, because I've seen the systems that these big players have, and they don't leave anything up to chance. Like, they know exactly who's doing what. They're tracking everything. So that's something I'm really working on right now. As far as just general systems, like I was telling you earlier, like, I work 4 tens a week. So my off days right now are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I really focus those days on real estate on my off days. I just hired my first VA who does cold calling for me, and set up a dialer that she has access to, so that she gives me a very detailed, organized list of the people that she's contacted, and answered the phone and basically just told her that they were the owner of the property. So I'm really setting up that to make it a very fluid system, so she knows what to do. Like, I've set up like a script for her and just a couple short questions in Mojo. But yeah, I mean, as far as like that's pretty much all I got right now. I'm just setting up my Mojo, and just working when I can on the off days. So it's something I'm definitely trying to get better at, though.
Well, I think it's a good system to have. If you can't physically make all the phone calls because you're working, you're hiring someone to do it for you. I think that's a great system.
Definitely.
Yes. So the last S in badass is success. What does success mean to you, Mr. 25-year-old?
Yeah, that's a loaded one. Honestly, I know it's kind of repeating myself, but I think success is just being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that's freedom and success for me. Like I want to be able to spend time with the people I love when I want to and not have to answer to anyone else. So I think success to me is just being able to build a business to a point of autopilot. So I could walk away. Like, you know, I'm seeing some of these guys that we just met walk away and they know that everything's okay. And, you know, they have systems in place to, you know, to deal with the things that need to be dealt with. So just, you know, just having that freedom and just being able to spend this time we have here on earth the way we want to spend it is success for me.
Well, I look forward to watching your journey unfold because you are a total badass for jumping in and doing what you're doing and making all the right decisions. And so impressed with you, Don. How can our listeners find you if they want to reach out to you, if they have questions?
Okay. Yeah, my email is just my full name, donaldshettler@gmail.com. Instagram, dschettler10. Yeah, that's about it. Reach out. You can find me.
Awesome. Well, I enjoy seeing everything that you're doing. I did do a little Facebook stalking after the trip. So congratulations to you. Thank you for being on the show. That is all. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.